Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. In this video, we will address the recent threats from Kim Jong-un, which signal a significant impact on inter-Korean relations, undermining the prospect of peace in the region. In June 1951, precisely 1 year after its beginning, the Korean War reached a critical impasse. North Korea, supported by almost 1.5 million Chinese soldiers equipped with armored vehicles, aircraft, and artillery provided by Stalin's Soviet Union, consolidated strategic positions along the 38th parallel, dividing the peninsula and preventing the United Nations forces, led by the United States, from breaking these lines. This resulted in a trench war with thousands of casualties daily. Facing the absence of a visible conclusion, in July 1951, negotiations were initiated for an armistice. However, the process was remarkably slow, with both parties creating obstacles and challenges. The armistice was finally signed almost 2 years after the start of negotiations in June 1953. Among the various challenges faced by the Armistice Negotiation Commission, the main one undoubtedly resided in delimiting the borderline that would separate the two Koreas. After the liberation of the Korean peninsula from Japanese rule in 1945, Soviet forces advanced north to the 38th parallel, while Western Allied forces, led by the United States, advanced south to the same point, effectively dividing the peninsula. This resulted in the creation of North Korea, indirectly controlled by Stalin and under strong Chinese influence, and South Korea, under the influence and indirect control of the United States and the UN. The situation on the peninsula remained virtually unchanged for almost 5 years, until the then North Korean dictator Kim Il-sung, grandfather of current dictator Kim Jong-un, obtained guarantees of financial and material support. On June 25, 1950, Kim Il-sung launched a surprise attack, destroying the line separating the two Koreas. This attack served as the basis for the subsequent division of the peninsula in the context of the armistice, originating the Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, a 250-kilometer long and 4-kilometer wide strip of land. Despite the name, the Demilitarized Zone turns out to be the most militarized border on the planet, housing tens of thousands of South and North Korean soldiers, supported by armored vehicles and extensive artillery. While the land division between the two Koreas was clear and universally recognized, the Maritime division did not achieve consensus. Both sides decided that some islands would be under Southern control, while others would remain with the North. However, an effective line was not established to divide the Yellow Sea, which washes the western coast of the Korean Peninsula. To avoid potentially disastrous misunderstandings, the UN established the so-called Northern Limit Line. This line originates from the estuary of the Han River and follows north along the North Korean coast, attributing to South Korean control a series of small islands very close to the North Korean mainland coast. Although South Korean control of the islands in the region was accepted by then-dictator Kim Il-sung, the tracing of the Northern Limit Line was never accepted, serving over the years as a North Korean justification for increasing tensions with the South, including resulting in direct confrontations. In 1999, for example, North Korean patrol boats violated the line, resulting in intense gunfire in which 30 sailors lost their lives and 70 were injured. Another notable incident occurred in 2010, when North Korea fired on some South Korean islands, resulting in dozens of South Koreans being injured. However, the incident that almost took the peninsula back to war occurred also in 2010, when a South Korean corvette exploded, resulting in the death of 46 sailors. South Korea claimed the explosion was caused by the North Koreans. In recent years, the situation in that maritime region has remained relatively stable, but in 2023 it began to deteriorate rapidly, with North Korea bombarding the territorial waters of the South Korean islands. These tensions reached their peak in a rather aggressive speech delivered by dictator Kim Jong-un on January 15th. He stated before Parliament that the Constitution will be amended to officially recognize South Korea as enemy number one. In addition, the dictator went even further, announcing that North Korea's new constitution will contemplate the invasion and complete annexation of South Korea under the communist banner of the North. Kim Jong-un expressed his non-recognition of the Northern Limit Line, warning the United States that any interference in the region would result in complete destruction by its nuclear weapons. The statements of the current dictator, who promises annexation of the South through force and war, contrasted with those of his predecessors, his father and grandfather, who always considered South Korea a territory to be reunified through peaceful reconciliation. If Kim Jong-un actually changes the constitution, adding terms that mention a forced reunification with the South through war, this would eliminate the possibilities for peace, since the North would officially cease to recognize the peaceful solution. In addition, if the dictator's new constitution declares the northern limit line illegal, an armed conflict could begin in that region, with the potential to spread quickly across the entire peninsula. This conflict, unlike a war on pause since 1953, would be even more serious due to Kim Jong-un's nuclear arsenal and his increasingly close relationship with Vladimir Putin.